I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Council of Dads After Show. We have been dark for the last 2 weeks in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. So we thank you for your patience with us, and it was very important for us here at AfterBuzz to do that. So that's what we did. But we're back now. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. It's a great day. We're here to talk. We're going to do, so just to give you a heads up, we're going to do 2 episodes today. We're going to do episode 6 and episode 7. And then next week, we'll do 8 and 9. And then we'll all be caught up and ready to go. But of course, I could not do this by myself. I have 2 lovely ladies with me tonight. First, Shay Jones. Say hello, Shay.
Hey guys, let's get into 6 and 7. I'm so ready.
All right. And then, of course, my girl representing a different world tonight, Kay Montgomery.
Hey guys, Hillman College, Gilbert Hall all day. Happy Juneteenth.
Awesome. Of course, I am the chief of crying, your moderator, Sean McHugh. So happy to be here. So happy to be back. I missed this show. I miss you guys. What's going on, man?
I know.
All right, so episode 6 was labeled Heart Medicine. And last time we were here, we ended with Charlotte collapsing in a heap in the middle of a water gun fight. We left us all in our hearts on the edge of our seat and our heart. I can't even talk. I was so messed up from all that. So let's get overall thoughts on this episode. Shay, Charlotte, start us off. I can talk. I swear. I swear I can.
Overall, for episode 6, I was like in tears, especially near the end. Like it really got me and just made like my heart feel so much. Like they really put me through the ringer for this episode.
Yes.
But it was such a great episode, and I love the moment that Charlotte got with her dad. I've had dreams almost the same way and not realizing until I woke up that, oh, he was there. But it didn't feel like a dream, which is a whole weird experience in and of itself. So I loved it.
Awesome. Kay Montgomery, what are your overall thoughts on this episode?
So I like the Charlotte focused episode. I mean, I wasn't too worried. I didn't think she was gonna die or anything. But it was good to see her kind of come into her own. But then always, like we get on this story, on this show, there are tons of different storylines. So we see Theo profess his love for the girlfriend. We see Anthony coming clean about more lying situations that he's been in. Luly meets the Calhouns. I mean, it was just a lot going on and a lot to process. A lot of movement though throughout the episode, which was good.
Nice. Yeah, no, I was very excited to see Scott again. I was like, come on, we got to have some more Scott, guys. And what a great way to do it. Obviously, while Char's in surgery, and then, we get, so then all of a sudden it doesn't matter. Like we just go on a ride and we're like, yay, Scott's back. So let's just start with that. So, Charlotte has to have a surgery and, she's not too excited about it. Robin's really worried, even though she's a doctor, she knows how this goes, but she goes into mama bear mode. Talk about Shay, talk about this whole kind of journey we go on with Scott and Char.
It was awesome because obviously we're learning a lot more about Charlotte than we had previously known. So we didn't know she even had a heart condition until this episode. We didn't know she could only speak Chinese before she came and lived with the family, and she learned through flashcards, which was just such a sweet little thing and reminiscent. And then obviously, when you're trying to find yourself and you want to come out, but you don't really know how the reaction is going to be. And because you are hiding a part of yourself, you either snap at other people or you just kind of shut down, which is what she was doing a little bit with everybody, especially with Tess, because she didn't know how to tell her what she already knew about yourself. When you know things about yourself, but you can't express it in the way you want, it's a very traumatizing feeling because you're trapped and you don't know how to get out. And then especially when her dad not being there, and is he going to be upset with the person that turned out to be? Is he going to would he not like that person if he had lived? Those are questions that you have. And obviously that's the journey that both she and Scott are going on right now too. I thought it was awesome traveling from the hospital to her little shy corner in her closet. I thought it was so cute.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I love what the doctor says to Robin. She says, "I'm going to take care of your miracle. Don't worry." And we have Robin, who I thought had a really nice moment when she fights for Char to have essentially Scott in the room with her. So I just, it was a really nice moment for me where, because, she knows she's a doctor, things have to be sterile, but there's workarounds to anything if you put your mind to it. So I really like that, because she says later on that, when Ali asked, "Do you have a favorite?" She says, "Char is mine." So Kay, talk about, because you're a mom, you got a bunch of kids. Do you have a favorite?
I do not. When she said that, I was like, ooh, that's like a taboo. I couldn't believe she said that. She's like, Theo is an island. JJ loves everybody. Luly was Scott's baby. I mean, it made sense when she ran through it, because she did find Charlotte in the orphanage, and she did, reach out to Scott and say, "I love this baby. We have to adopt her." So they had a special bond. Or, "I love this little girl." She was like, 5 when they adopted her. But I thought, oh, I don't know. I had a little mom judgment against Robin on that as a favorite. But Charlotte is a great kid, and she just continues to show that. I feel like it's a little spot on metaphorically that her special place is in the closet because she is in the closet. Afterwards, I was like, that's a little okay. I thought it was really cool for Robin to advocate for her and say, like, listen, I know there's something you can do. She's got to have her dad in there. This isn't like a transformer, you know what I mean? Which was totally true. And at first the doctor was indulging. It's like, lady, this isn't a blankie. This is her dad. This is something serious that she wants to have come in. So I was happy to see that they were able to accommodate her in that way. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I remember thinking through this whole episode, I was like, I want Scott to be my dad. Like, he's like the coolest dad. But it was very interesting too, though. I think to kind of get another side of Scott too, that like, he wasn't perfect, right? Like he had his things too. But at the end of the day, like, he was always very supportive of them. And I think that's where this kind of family, like, you can see why he was the rock. And you see, like, he just the way he interacts with her, like, there's no judgment. There's no, like, it's weird. It's almost like he's like the best version of parent and friend at the same time. Because at the same time, he's still a dad, but I don't know, like, just his level of understanding and patience. I was like, yeah, I wish he was my dad.
I was with you, Sean, when you said we were glad to see him again, because it's hard for us to attach to a ghost. They keep talking about him. And I thought there would be a lot more flashbacks in him. So I was glad to see him resurface. I hope that they introduce him more and that we'll eventually get to see the alcoholic Scott. We'll get some flashbacks, so we'll kind of flesh his character out. Because for me, I need to see him, and just them referencing him isn't enough for me. So it meant a lot for me to be able to see him and Charlotte kind of interact in this episode.
Well, you must have been reading my mind, Kay. What a great way to segue to now we have Luly, who's going to go meet, her original adopted parents. And it's funny you say that, the other side of Scott a little bit there. We get to see it, or we at least get to hear about it from Anthony, right? And like the whole thing of like so we find out this whole thing, how Anthony was shady as hell, the way he kind of did these parents and lied about Scott. Now, of course, we're all here now, so it's all good, kind of, but that's an example of another side of Scott where he wasn't perfect, right? Like, this guy was a raging alcoholic and shouldn't have been dealing with a baby, let alone somebody else's baby. But I digress.
We got to get to that later.
We get to that later. That's like, I'm getting ahead of myself. Shay, how about this amazing interaction between Luly and the names are going away from me, but our first adoptive parents.
Yeah, the Calhouns.
Calhouns, thank you. I couldn't
That I
remember
remember their names. I did not, but
so talk about this like amazing interaction.
it was really nice to sort of see the home in which she could, like, to see this other life I could have had. It's almost like I'm coming into this house, I'm seeing all these pictures, and I think actually there's still a picture of her when she was still there. I feel like that was a picture on the wall because Anthony looked at it for a while when he came in. And to even for 2 months, like, my life was so important to these two people. And obviously they adopted more kids and they're all grown as well now. So it sort of worked out, but then you have to think, okay, so what would my life have been like? Would I still been a writer if I had lived here? Because I mean, granted, she and the mom seemed to have a lot in common. But at the same time, if I would have grew up, like, different circumstances anything can change in different circumstances. You can be a completely different person. I know for sure, because of where I grew up and who I grew up with, I am in a better version of what I could have been if I grew up with my birth mother. So at that point, it's a lot. And my heart was breaking for Luly. And obviously when when Mama forced him, let's be real quick, she came in and said, "I don't forgive you." I was like, "Ma'am, like, why don't you forgive?" I wanted to know information. Why don't you forgive him? And then obviously because he lied in court, face committed perjury. I don't play devil's advocate and say I understand, obviously because Luly doesn't know what we now know from episode 7. But because of what we know from episode 7, if Anthony did not speak up, he would not have been a part of her life. And even though he is Uncle Anthony, quote unquote, he wanted to be in her life, even if he wasn't raising her.
Wow.
If that makes any sense.
No, it does. It's interesting. I didn't think of it that way, but it wasn't just for Scott, it was for himself too, that he lied. That's a great observation. I didn't even put those two together. But I see Kay shaking her head down there. She's got some stuff to say. Go on, Kay. Talk about this scene for me.
Oh, guys. You know what? It took me a second to just be like, okay, the privilege, the gall, dare I say the audacity of to take a child that was already placed in a loving, Black, 2-parent household to set her up with the alcoholic single father. Let's get into it. Really, let's do it. Because that is a level of privilege and just nerve to say, especially because you lied on his behalf and he wasn't clean. He wasn't even clean then. But you took her, you snatched her from these people in a stable home to place her with an alcoholic single. Like, let's just marinate on that, right?
No, that's a good point. I mean,
there's a level of privilege there. Now, I will say, I didn't think about what Shay said, is that he thought maybe he could be in her life in some way, which I think that's a really good point, Shay. I didn't think about that. But I think that just goes to show you that he's really not a dad. You know what I mean? You're really not a dad. His selfishness precedes himself at every step, even presently, right? You can see his selfishness in the past because he wants to be a part of Luly's life. He'll place her in a home with an alcoholic father and rip her from a home with stable 2 parents. Like, what? Just because it's what you want. When you're a good parent, not a true parent, because a lot of parents don't do what's best, but a good parent does what's best for the kid. It ain't about you, bro. It's not about you. So it's still about him even now. I just am so disappointed in Anthony this episode. I was just like, I didn't think he just got secret after secret, y'all. He like I don't even know, a thing with a lot of secrets, y'all. I don't know.
A thing with a lot of secrets.
Well, just to play, let's play a little devil's advocate, Kate. Does the fact that it actually is his kid, does that have anything? I mean, technically he's fighting for his own kid. Now, granted, you're right, he is taking it out of a stable environment, but the birth parents always win. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, is there anything to that?
If he was really fighting for his own kid, he would have stood up and said, "That's my kid." He fought for the kid to be somebody else's responsibility. You fought so hard for your kid to be somebody else's responsibility, you will put her in a home with an alcoholic father that wasn't even clean yet? Come on.
I mean, to play the other side of devil's advocate, in the sense that at first he didn't know technically Luly was his. I mean, granted, they had something happened obviously between him and Michelle, either while she was with Scott, when they were on a break. I don't know time frame of that situation. But obviously something happened, but neither knew who the father was. She didn't know if it was Scott. She didn't know if it was his. So either way, and even, like you say, I know you're saying be a good parent, do what's best for the kid. And obviously he didn't know like just how getting Scott clean like would traject everything. But the fact is Scott did get clean. He became the best parent for Luly. She is who she is because of him.
Absolutely. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if he was the best parent for Luly. The Calhouns could be the best parent for Luly. We don't know that. He became a good parent. Absolutely. Like, he's awesome. Absolutely.
Okay. I think we've sorted this out enough. But I definitely I love your passion, Kay. I always love your passion. And just trying to keep it real. I love it. All right, so we also have this kind of interesting. Well, first of all, I just got to say, is JJ not the cutest adult in the world? I know he's a kid, but it's like he's a little adult in a kid's body, right? Like the wisdom that comes out of this kid, he's amazing.
I want JJ. I push out a kid. That's who I want to come out. I want my kid to be JJ, because it's true though. As parents, I mean, granted, I don't have to be the parent, so I get to be the one to tell kids whatever, and I get to be honest about it. Like, so legit, my friends sometimes send me in just so I can do that, so they don't have to, like, because I'm not the parent. So, and half time I don't. I'm an adult, but most kids don't see me that way. So if I'm telling them something, they usually believe it, because I don't have no qualms about just giving it to you straight. Because you want to be treated like an adult, right? You ask for it, so you got to sit there and take it. But it's so true. Like, parents have a tendency to not, and I understand why, because in certain situations you do want to protect your kid, but kids are so much smarter than they're given credit for.
That's right.
No, you're not wrong. All right, so we have this as another kind of subplot going on here. We have not JJ. We have
Theo.
Thank you, Theo. Theo is he's got his girl with him, and it's a very interesting, because I like that they're just kind of, they're not forcing anything with these two. They're just kind of letting it be, and they're just kind of being there for each other. And obviously this is a tough time for Theo, and so she comes to the hospital, and I love that, like, Robin hugs her too, and it's like we're just all in this together. But they get to escape to the rooftop, because Theo's like, you know what, hospitals equal death for me. I got to get out of here. And I love the story that his girlfriend tells about her own mother and where she died, and then how she to be able to turn that around. So, Kay, talk about that scene for me.
Yeah, that was a great scene, right? I think I don't know how you feel, Sean. I know me and Shay love the girlfriend. We've loved her from the jump. We were like, oh my gosh, which girl is he gonna like? And like, yeah, we're just excited for Theo we just want Theo to be happy, because I feel like everybody else is kind of processing and moving on, but I felt like Theo kind of had the toughest time. And I mean, I don't know, it might just be like teenage years, but he seems more morose than anybody else. And so I'm just happy that he has someone that he can just like vibe with, and she understands. And so I thought that was really sweet. That was a really powerful story though that she told, and it made total sense. the story about her guitar teacher and then taking the lesson in the basement and how she didn't want to come out and say, oh no, I found my mom dead in here. So she just had to roll with it and do the lesson there, which at first I was like, oh my gosh, would that be like so traumatic for her? But it actually helped her to process and work through it. I thought it was a really good story. And she's a great actress. I think they have a good chemistry together. Now, when they were like, I love you, I was like,
right, thank you.
How old is Theo, y'all? Is Theo 15? 16?
15, 16?
Yeah, 15, 16. Okay, Shay, so your antenna went up when she mentioned I love you. What's going on there?
Everything up until that point, I was loving, I was here for. Even the kiss, I mean, granted, the kiss could have lasted a little bit longer, but that's just me as a viewer because I wanted that. However, the whole, oh, I really love you. Oh, I love you too. I'm gonna need y'all to sit down. I'm sorry. I mean, don't know if they're sitting down, but I'm gonna need y'all to calm. Because I don't even think, like, Jules and Freya have just come in, so I think it's been a couple months of them knowing each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's even too quick for me. Like, I'm sorry. Like, let's date 6 months. 6 months in, you want to tell me you love me? Let's do it. And if I do the same thing, I'm gonna tell it to you back.
Anthony couldn't tell, what's her name? What's Anthony's ex-girlfriend from the restaurant?
Margot.
But here's Theo out in these streets. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you have to remember, you're thinking as the age you are now. When you're 15, 16, you just say these things because you're, it's new, it's fun, it's exciting. And she said it first, technically. So
Nope. Also, at the same age of, like, somebody said that to me 2 weeks into the relationship. I am the original ghoster. Like, we were still together for 8 months, but I ghosted.
Wow.
And I said it, like, I said it back because I didn't want it to feel awkward. But I was like, I just got with you. It's been 2 weeks. What is this?
All right. Well, I think my favorite line, though, of the whole thing was, a place only has the power you give it.
Yeah.
And then she said, my mom would really, that's how we get into it. My mom would really love you and I love you too, right? So she kind of snuck it in there. I like how she kind of snuck it in there with her mom. Anyway, all right, so let's then move on to the end of this episode. Charlotte finally comes to grips with it all, and she comes out, as they're going to get rid of her dad's ashes. Which, by the way, the use of the shell in this moment was such a great thing. Like, just the writing of that. Like, I love the shell into the ocean or the lake, with the ashes. It's just so metaphorical, and I just loved all that. Kay, talk about Char coming out.
Okay, this is where I need to learn more, because I was like, why was there so much trepidation around coming out? Her family's like the most accepting family ever. She has a transgender brother. Her mom's best friend is gay and married, has a husband. Like, I was just like, why is there so much? I was very confused about why she would be so worried about the reaction of everybody. But then I thought, okay, maybe it's not about the reaction, because she said a couple of times, I don't know what they'll say or whatever. But I guess it was more about her fleshing out her identity. So it had less to do with the family's reaction and more to do with, like, how you view yourself and how you see yourself and what, kind of dreams or ideals or, plans you have for yourself that now have to shift. So I thought it was really interesting. And when I looked at it from that perspective, then it made sense. Like, oh, it's not about the family really at all. It's about her and processing, within herself. So I thought that was the cool aspect of it, that they made it about her. It was all about her.
Nice. And we have to give credit to Shay, because Shay called this a couple episodes ago, and she said she suspected it. So props out to Shay for making that call. I don't want to go through this too quickly, but we do need to move on, I think, to episode 7, because we are running out of time, because there's so much to talk about with this show. That's why we love it. It's so good. All right, so this one, best laid plans. And Anthony is like, he can't take it no more. Like, it's gotten all too real for him. He's ready to bounce. He's ready. He's out. Shay, what are your feelings about Anthony right now?
Man, like the guilt, guilt will crush you and kill you so fast. Part of him, I get why he's worried, because obviously, even with some of the truth he has told, his relationship with Luly is shaky at best right now, this moment anyway. But dude, like, you've been running, you've been leaving, and you still come back. So at that point, I think it's just time to stay. Not to even be funny, just be real about it. Like, you've been running since she got here. You still come back and you get to be Uncle Anthony, you get to be that. And it's time to let the guy you were in the past go. I think like he's also trying to hold on to who he was, or a way to keep Scott alive in that sense, if he's that same way. But the thing about growing up is you get to evolve. Like, I mean, certain parts of you get to stay the same, but you get to evolve and change and grow. And that's what makes life life. And when we're talking about, like, okay, you're saying he was selfish and like who he wasn't during that time, especially during the court case. I really don't think, I think something happened in his own past that makes him afraid to be a father. Maybe he didn't have a father. Maybe, I mean, that also could be one of his own cruxes that he has happening in inner monologue wise that we just don't see. But he's in so much pain. And it was just heartbreaking, like slowly watching him in a way, like disengaged from everybody. It was just so heartbreaking.
He says at one point, he says, "I'm Uncle Anthony, I'm no dad," which for me was very telling, because like you were just saying, Shay, he's just kind of constantly been running away. And then Kay, you even said it, like, he doesn't act like a dad. If he was acting like a dad, he would have said, "This is my kid." So he's been obviously running away from this for a long time. And I thought Peter even mentions it. So, wow, that must be a lot to be carrying around for this long a time. And I like how we have a lot of speculation from everyone. Margot's like, "Oh, he's in love with you, Robin. That's why he don't want to leave." And then Robin actually asks him that, which I thought was pretty. She's like, "Just put it out. It's all good. No big deal." But then, of course, we get, and I didn't think we were going to get it this quick, but I think Daughtry said it best: "Be careful what you wish for." Wow. When she asked him what the problem was, and he tells her, Kay, what was your response to that?
I was glad. I was so glad for him to finally tell somebody something. I was like, good gracious, thank you, Anthony, for finally speaking the truth and letting somebody know what the deal is. So it was a relief for me. I was relieved. I was on the edge of my seat. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, is he gonna we only have 30 seconds. Like, countdown of the show. Like, what's he gonna say? Yeah, but so it was totally a relief. I mean, I'm really excited to see what happens next episode, but I was glad that he went ahead and just let it out.
What got me though was the whole him telling Oliver. I was like, dude, like, I feel like I heard your heart breaking as you're telling him this lie. Like, I felt and heard your heart break as you're telling Oliver a lie right now. And it broke my heart for him. Because like now, like, it seems now that he's come clean, he might stay-ish. And if that's the case, him and Oliver are gonna have their own tussle to happen.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was kind of brutal, because you could see that, Oliver's obviously just trying to help or be his friend, and he kind of was like, "We're not boys" or something. I was like, wow. And I love Oliver's reaction. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna step back right now, because you're in a zone that I don't want to be a part of. So yeah, no, that was brutal. So we also have a little bit of, we have Miss Luly in this episode, who, I mean, she brought it back around, but in the beginning I was like, girl, you need to slow your roll. Like, you're coming off way too aggressive here with all this stuff. Like, I get it. You got, there's some stuff going on, but like, you're just coming at people like too much. Like, it ain't all about you. Every other people are around in this world. So, and as her husband, pointed out, you got a whole family. stop sweating the family you didn't have. You have a good family. So, what did he say? He said, go be a victim somewhere else. I was like, yes, yes, you tell her. She's like on some other stuff that she needs to get off of. So that was my reaction. I don't know. Shay, how did you feel about Luly in this episode?
I mean, I will say this, they both have points. They both have their own individual point where I can definitely see. However, for Evan, I guess she's your mom, but you have a wife that you didn't stand up for. And she has a point. Your mom drags me and you say nothing. You just smile and you let me take all this blame because I'm like the easy target. So she doesn't come for you. And that's not fair either. Because you're letting situations that you've made decisions on that has really, it wasn't my decision for you not to go to school. You did it. It wasn't my decision really to buy this house. You wanted this house. I supported you because I am your wife. And at the end of the day, when you get married, sometimes your wife is going to trump your mom.
Yeah. No, it's true. You're right. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it definitely happened for me in the past when my mom was still around. It would be like, Mom, you got to go somewhere. This is just my wife. And it's tough because I was definitely, I could relate to Evan because I was definitely a mama's boy, a single mother, and here's a new person coming in, taking my attention that, she didn't have to fight for before. So I mean, I get it. And I get the whole, I don't blame mom at all. Like mom's just being mom. Like, I'm just doing me. Like, I just felt like, Luly, it was just a lot of all about her and like not taking other people in consideration. Kay, what were your thoughts? Did you have any thoughts on that?
I was just like, Evan, bro, like, and y'all know I love Evan. I love Evan. But I was really disappointed in Evan because he already said, basically, I don't tell my mom nothing. I want to keep her happy, so I don't tell her nothing. So what that leads to her speculating. She don't know exactly why you dropped out of school. And if you would have, like, if I was in mom's position, I would be thinking the same thing. My son was on a path, and then he met this Luly, and now he ain't going to school. He ain't doing this. He being reckless and buying houses. Like, of course, all of those things. So that's on Evan because he's not going through it, clarifying, being completely honest with his mom. And I feel like Shay said, like, my father-in-law told my husband this first year of marriage. Like, he was like, listen, it's you and your wife against everybody else, even against our family. He was like, whatever goes down, you always have your wife's back. He was like, it doesn't matter. Like, if it comes down to us and her, you always have her back. Like, you always side with her. So, I mean,
when I meet somebody, you gonna tell them the same thing.
Wrong. So, I mean, he kind of has it easy there. But, I don't know. I was just like, Evan. And then he didn't even, like, say these people were dragging JJ because he's, transgender. Like, he didn't get specific. He just was like, I was like, man, come on, Evan. I will say, can I just give an aside to something I thought was hilarious? Because the mom, she talks to him and says, they're not going to give a black man a loan without without a college degree, which is like all true things. Like, she came through with the black momhood on 100. I was like, girl, that's right. When they were outside in the beginning of the story, and I'm going to call him Gentrifying Jerry, came by and was like, are y'all going to come to the house? And they were like, no. And he was like, well, I guess I'll have to call the inspector about that porch. I was like, dang, Gentrifying Jerry. But he gonna call the inspector about the porch. I was like, wow. Now that I thought was very timely of today.
Well,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, wow.
Well, in the end, green always wins. That's the thing. The color green, money always wins everything. So that's what, that's what's gonna be people's motivation for that kind of stuff.
Well, Larry's him win. So that's
right. There you go.
I love like Larry just standing at the door too. He's like, I was just waiting on y'all to finish your discussion. I'm just chilling on your porch with the tool belt.
I love Larry.
Well, I was just about to get into it. He's your favorite. He's my favorite, and this episode is like the height of why Larry is my favorite. Larry kills it in this episode. I mean, from rolling in on Evan and helping them out to being at the hospital from the last episode, and then this whole thing with him being 5 years sober, that whole monologue he has at the meeting. Wow. I mean, if you didn't love Larry already, I don't know how you don't love him now. That was such a beautiful thing. Be someone others can depend on. Yeah. Wow. And it's funny because we've only really seen the good Larry, and we get glimpses of who he, I mean, talk about a flashback. I'd love to see a flashback of Larry with his family, right? Like, yeah, being drunk or whatever. Like, I would love to see that.
Do you think
I don't think we're gonna get it, but anyway.
I thought he was more neglectful. Like his drunkenness was more of just like he pushed, like when he got home and he just started drinking, like he didn't care about his family. Like to the point where they had to start, moving on themselves.
The way the daughter responded to him, I think it was more than that. I mean, because her response was visceral.
But I would actually love if he was abusive, because then they could really show, that would be such a multi-layered character, because they've drawn us in and we love Larry. And then to see somebody like completely rehabilitate who has been an abuser, that would be really interesting on the storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've pretty much hit on everything. We did get a little bit. I knew we weren't done with the cop. I think that was too quick. It was too quick, and I'm excited for Robin to get a restart, a redo with the cop. Shay, you got excited when I said it, so please give us your thoughts.
Yeah, Sam is back. I mean, we talked about it when he left the dinner. I'm so happy that he's back. I think Kay said that she's hoped he'd be back, and now he is, and now he's starting his own little romance. I'm really excited to see how Theo is going to take this man, how the council is going to take this new man in her life, especially because they have a lot of great chemistry. However, if he comes in, his kids come in, are they going to mesh? Are they not going to mesh? Is his parenting style obviously different from how Robin's household is run? Like, it's just so many dynamics that could go any kind of way. I'm really looking forward to what that's going to be. I mean, granted, let her have her adult time before we bring in the kids and 2 other families or 3 families come joining in. But I'm super excited that he's back. And it was always my favorite part. I liked it.
I mean, it was a little convenient that it all got wrapped up in 2 episodes. Now we're totally divorced. We're good to go. Me and you, let's go.
Yeah, that's fast. When you said we're divorced, I was like, wait, what?
So were you together for 2 weeks, and then she just told you
now technically, I guess
I'm in love with Jerry.
I guess we could argue that this show will jump months ahead, and in time. So I guess it's for us it's 2 weeks. For them, maybe it's 6 to 8 months. I guess I don't know. I don't know. Either way, all right. So let's get into some news quickly with our girl Kay.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of J. August Richards lately. He was actually on our sister network, Black Hollywood Live, on a show called The Trend. And then also for Juneteenth, he did a special appearance on the NAACP/Revolt, did a special Juneteenth celebration on YouTube. You guys can check it out now. So it's on the NAACP's YouTube or Revolt TV's YouTube. They both are showing it simulcast. But he did a little bit of a presentation there for the celebration of Juneteenth. So that was pretty exciting to see.
Awesome. It's always great when the people were watching our week, and then we get to see them in their real lives and doing what they're doing. So that's great. All right, so that's gonna, I think, do it. Any final thoughts before we wrap it up, ladies?
Oliver and Peter are having a baby.
Yes.
Well, you're not they're adopting a baby. Let me rephrase that. They're adopting a baby. And I want to say this before we go. I'm super excited that they seem to be on better terms, like you said, because it could have been months since we last saw them. So this could just be months later, and they're reaffirming their marriage to each other. But are you just wanting a baby to cover up a problem? I mean, it was a little suspect all of a sudden you want a baby for me
Okay.
as the viewer. I'm excited to see what this new baby's going to be and who it's going to be, and that like this new baby coming in, taking attention away from Tess, how Tess is going to deal with having a baby in the house. It's just, like I said, a lot of variables are going to be happening, and I'm so excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, well, Peter did say, our life is kind of perfect right now. So why, if it ain't broke, why are we trying to fix it? So it'll be interesting, right, to see how that goes. I think it's going to be a good thing because the way they viscerally responded to the email to me was like, that's how you really feel. So I think it's going to be good. Kay, any last thoughts?
The thing that's kind of lingering with me is Robin said, we are expecting the worst because the worst thing happened to us. So I think it'll be interesting moving forward to see how everybody's kind of trying to, time, almost a year has passed and everybody's kind of trying to move on. And will that be a theme that hinders their happiness? That idea that something bad happened to us, so we're always expecting the worst. We're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. We can never really have a fullness of joy. I think that's an interesting thing to explore when you've had trauma or something that was that big of a tragedy happen in your life. A really interesting thing.
I love it. I can't be any more articulate than that. So we're going to end it on that. Well done, Kay. All right, ladies, where can we find you, Shay?
You guys can find me at Real Shay Jones on Twitter and Instagram, and Sundays at Dish Upon a Star on the AfterBuzz Red Carpet channel.
Awesome. Miss Montgomery.
Yeah, so you can find me at HostK, HostKay on Twitter and Instagram. And then you can find me on The Black Hollywood Reporter, which is a show I do every Monday about the background and creative behind the scenes of Black Hollywood. So check us out there.
Awesome. You can find me on the gram at SeanStar75, on Twitter at GorillaSuitSean, and now on Wednesdays on the AEW Wrestling After Show. Wrestling. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, next week we will do 2 episodes, 8 and 9 next week, and then we'll be all caught up. But thank you for your patience. Thank you for being with us. We look forward to seeing you every week. Like, subscribe, share, find us in the chat, and we'll shout you out. All the things. And until next week, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.